Hey, what's going on everybody? So thank you for clicking on this video. Today I wanted to talk about some pros and cons of buying 4K Blu-rays. I am by no means an expert on the 4K format. I am just simply someone who loves movies and loves collecting 4Ks and Blu-rays. Maybe my thoughts and experiences will help you if you're someone who is unsure about 4K or you are trying to make the decision of maybe buying 4K. Hopefully this video will be helpful. Of course, please watch other people's videos. There are tons of other videos like mine, articles, forums where people discuss the 4K format and what are some advantages, maybe some disadvantages. So hopefully my video will just be one more resource for you and not the only one. All that being said, I have 3 pros of collecting 4Ks and 3 cons. I'm gonna go ahead and start with some of the pros. So let's get the first and most obvious pro of buying 4Ks out of the way, and that's going to be 4Ks offer the best quality possible. Now, we all know that streaming has the issues of compression. We've all experienced that when you're watching a movie on Netflix and you start to see the buffering. That's always annoying. You don't want to deal with that when you're watching a movie. It's almost as annoying as having to sit through ads. But when you're watching a 4K disc, most of them include HDR, which is high dynamic range. This is one of the bigger selling points of 4K is when they include HDR. This is an increase in brightness. It offers a wide variety of colors. So your reds look redder, your darks look darker, and everything just looks brighter and more vivid. Now, as far as a 4K is concerned, it's just a higher resolution. 4Ks are just sharper, so your image is going to be clearer, it's going to be sharper. You're going to be able to see those fine details in people's faces, close-up shots. Those are all going to look more detailed because of this higher resolution, and that's just due to the higher number of pixels, or those tiny dots or squares that display the TV's image. So not only are you getting the better picture quality most of the time, you're also getting an improved audio quality. 4Ks nowadays come encoded with a Dolby Atmos track or a 5.1 track, and they just sound better. It's really hard to debate the fact. Now, granted, most people who sit and watch movies are not listening for every sound effect. They're not focused on each pore on somebody's skin. But for us movie lovers and us film enthusiasts, Blu-ray collectors, we do appreciate the finer qualities. Now, another pro of the 4K format is that it has become more affordable. Now, I know some new releases, if you buy them like day one of release, they're still costing anywhere between $20, $25 to even $35. And that's not even mentioning boutique labels, premium sets that can go up to $45, $50. But in general, if you wait about a month after a release, or you wait for sales, I know we just had Prime Day deals, Black Friday, if that's still a thing, but secondhand stores, things like that. If you just are patient and you look in the right places, 4Ks can cost as low as $15, $10. I've seen 4Ks drop even lower than $10. If you have stores like Half Price Books near you, or thrift stores, DVD exchanges, a lot of times they'll carry 4Ks for $10. Yeah, sometimes they charge a little more when the 4K has maybe a slipcover or it's a steelbook or things like that. But if you just find a standard 4K out in the wild, it can cost you $10 or less. So they definitely have become a little more affordable, slowly but surely. Check places like Blu-ray.com, where they post the most recent sales. You can sort by newest deals, lowest deals, and you can look for the best prices for a 4K disc. Now, a third and final pro for today that I wanted to discuss is, and this is mostly if you're a collector and you care about presentation, I'm talking about the packaging. When you buy a 4K disc, you are usually going to be getting the best edition available. When a 4K movie is released, it might come out as a steelbook or a premium box set. So let me demonstrate with an example. So I bought this steelbook version of The Crow on 4K, and I believe this was a Walmart exclusive, but it comes with some great artwork, a slipcase with front and back art. And if you open this up, it has some interior artwork as well. So a really premium edition, and this is a really cool steelbook in my opinion. So if you're a collector and you care about that sort of thing, 4Ks will usually put out pretty cool editions of a movie. If I'm not mistaken, the only other version you could have gotten of The Crow prior to this release was just a standard regular Blu-ray case, and that's more than good enough for a lot of people. But if you care about this sort of thing, this is a really big pro, because if you collect 4K, like I said, they'll usually put out a nice slipcover, a nice steelbook, or a premium box set. And I know that kind of goes against my last pro, which is affordability, because steelbooks, box sets, they usually aren't the cheapest, but the option is there if, like I said, if you care about that sort of thing. So a lot of times a new 4K release will include new artwork, new commentaries, new special features, things like that. So more often than not, the 4K release is going to have the best treatment, and you're going to have the best version of that movie. Again, this pro may not be for everyone, but if you're serious, if you're a collector, you like packaging, you care about presentation, things like that, 4K is usually the best you're going to get. Okay, now for some cons. Here are where things are going to get a little juicy. So the first con I have here is expensive equipment. I know I just finished talking about affordability once again with discs, but I'm not talking about discs. I'm just talking about the entire 4K equipment, everything required to be able to play 4K discs in your home. Now, if you want a true 4K TV with HDR that's big enough for you to even notice a difference, that's going to cost you, especially when you bring OLED into the picture, things like that. I mean, you're talking about a TV that's going to cost you, I mean, at least $1,000. Sometimes you see maybe a TV at Walmart for $200 and it says 4K. I mean, technically, yes, it's 4K, but from my experience, I don't see those including HDR, and they're not the best quality TVs. Then you get into 4K players, and I'm not talking about a 4K upscale player. I'm talking about a true 4K player. Now, currently, at the time of this recording, a quick search on the Best Buy website, I saw the Sony X700, which is actually the one I own, is currently $259. So kind of pricey if you ask me. And then you also have the Panasonic UB820, which is highly regarded. It's one of the better 4K players out there that's within a reasonable price, and that's still about $500. So yes, there are some cheaper 4K players, but they're usually upscale players, and they rarely go down in price. The Panasonic that I just mentioned, I've had my eye on that one for quite some time, and the lowest I've seen it go is to maybe $300 if I'm not mistaken, $300 or $400. So even then, still kind of pricey. 4K players are something that I really have not seen go down in price, and I've been collecting 4Ks for a good 6 years now, and a lot of those 4K players are just not budging in their price. Don't forget, you're also going to need a 4K compatible HDMI cable. Now those aren't too bad. You can get a decent one for like $20, probably even cheaper. So, but still, you add that all up, it's pretty expensive. Now, I don't want to discourage anybody. I know I said that TV has to be $1,000. That's not what I don't mean, that it has to be $1,000. But if you want a true 4K TV with HDR, again, that's big enough. You're talking maybe at least 55 inches to notice a difference. I'd say that's the range you're kind of dealing with here. But again, there's sales all the time. Black Friday, maybe around Super Bowl time, TVs drop in price. TVs drop in price all the time. Costco has great options. As far as 4K players go, PS5s, Xbox One X. I mean, I don't use those as 4K players personally, but I've heard people use those all the time, and they work perfectly fine. And of course, you can also use them to play video games. So 2 for 1 there. They are great options for 4K players from what I have heard. Now, this next con is also for maybe those people who have been collectors for a while. Maybe you bought several Blu-rays and then the 4K craze came about. That con is the issue of double dipping. Now, double dipping is when you own a Blu-ray copy of a movie. For example, I owned this Blu-ray of Titanic, got it several years ago at like a Barnes & Noble or something for $20. Then the 4K was announced a couple years later, and I had to buy it on 4K because it's one of my favorite movies. Of course, different artwork, slipcover, and of course the increase in picture quality. So I had to get it. Now, some people would say that's not a double dip, that's an upgrade. But to me, a double dip is buying the same movie twice. So already own Titanic. I could probably watch this Blu-ray for the rest of my life and be totally fine with it. Did I have to go out and purchase the 4K? $20 here. That was kind of a lot for this Blu-ray. I'm not going to lie, I probably overpaid for that. But another, I don't recall, maybe 25 here. So nearly $50 to own Titanic. So when you're rebuying movies and have that issue of, or that internal conflict with yourself of, should I buy this movie on 4K? I already own it on Blu-ray. Or is this worth the upgrade? Then you have that issue of double dipping. That can definitely be a con because it can turn what's supposed to be a fun hobby into a stressful hobby. Now for the third con of collecting 4K. I know that picture quality was something that I mentioned as a pro, but sometimes it can be a con. What I mean by that is depending on the quality of the transfer. So the quality of a transfer really has a lot to do with this. The difference from Blu-ray to 4K can be minimal. Now, if you look at a modern movie, let's just say a modern MCU movie with lots of CGI, usually that will not have a big difference in picture quality compared to the Blu-ray. Now, where you'll really see that increase in quality would be in older films that were shot on film, even black and white films that have been restored, cleaned up. Those usually look 10 times better than the Blu-ray counterpart. So sometimes the upgrade is just not worth it. Another thing that a lot of 4K transfers suffer from is DNR. DNR is this technique, or digital noise reduction. It's this technique where the editors or the people doing the transfers, they try to remove digital noise, which a lot of times can compromise the look of the film. It can compromise the film grain. You'll end up with waxy looking faces and it just doesn't look right. And some people like this. A lot of grain haters like this maybe. I feel like the majority are more for film preservation and watching a film how it was intended to look. Now, infamous culprit of this is the Terminator 2 4K. I have never watched it, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it, how it was DNR to death, and it's just a worse transfer than the Blu-ray. So I'd say look up reviews on Blu-ray.com, maybe on YouTube, different people that are reviewing these 4K discs to make your own decision. Because to be quite honest, some 4K upgrades are just not worth it. And those are my pros and cons of buying Blu-ray, guys, or 4K Blu-ray, I should say. Now, those aren't the only ones. There are several other advantages and disadvantages. But overall, I hope this video helps you make an informed decision. If you, like I said, were on the fence. Now, me personally, I do buy 4K. I love buying 4K. I don't upgrade everything because of some of the cons that I listed, where the transfer to me is just not worth it, or the price of the upgrade is just not worth it. So it really all depends. It depends on you and what you want and how you want to collect. There's no one correct way to collect. Here's another example of a 4K that I did not upgrade. That's Twister. I saw this movie not too long ago. I watched this Blu-ray copy of Twister and the 4K was announced, and I decided to pass. I love the movie, but I passed because I just watched it and I told myself, when will I sit down and watch this 4K copy of Twister. I just watched the Blu-ray. I probably won't watch it anytime soon, so it's not worth the $20, $25, whatever it was. But on the other hand, I mentioned Prime Day. Prime Day came and went, and these are 3 movies that I had never owned, and they were on sale. It was a buy 2 get 1 free. So I pulled the trigger on these 4Ks. The Deer Hunter, Cool Hand Luke, and To Kill a Mockingbird. Hadn't owned any of them on any format, so it was a no-brainer to take advantage of a Prime Day sale. So like I said, I hope this video was helpful. I hope it helps you make informed decisions. And like I mentioned in the beginning, don't take my word for it. Go out, watch other people's videos on YouTube, on forums on Reddit, discussions on Blu-ray.com, and lots of other places. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.